Did Robert Downey Jr. get into a fight, a physical altercation with Ryan Reynolds on the set of Avengers Doomsday? Katy Perry's testifying at trial, and she's saying she just wants justice. And we have a leaked list of the newest Dancing with the Stars contestants, all of which we'll get into today. I hope you are ready. Let's get it. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. What's up, guys? Welcome on in, welcome on in, welcome on in. Everybody in the club. What's up, everybody? How you doing, guys? How's everybody doing today? What's today? Wednesday. Monday. How did I think it was Monday? Well, I'm happy to see you. I'm happy to see you. Happy to be here with you. I hope you guys are enjoying the rest of your week so far. I'm gonna take a sip. I just got hint. This is not a sponsorship, by the way. Like genuinely not getting paid or anything. But they sent me a package of their new waters. They're like their waters infused with flavor, natural flavors. This one's infused with orange and vanilla essence, and I just have to say it's actually very delicious. Mm-mm-mm-mm. It's so yummy. I think it's the vanilla because I've tried a couple of their other flavors, and the vanilla, like the hint of vanilla, just kind of like adds an extra oomph to it. But there are no sweeteners, no calories. It's actually very delicious. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10 if you're thirsty and need to stay hydrated. Ooh, should I do like a sexy water drink? Be like, ooh, just pour it all over myself. Be like, ah. I had a great interview with Carlo. So if you guys remember from last week, if you're 90 Day Universe fans, I had on Elise from 90 Day Hunt for Love. That was, I think it was last week, right? When Elise was on the show. And then Carlo reached out and he's just like, okay, I want to tell my side of the story. Now that we've got the finale, now that we've got the tell all, I taped with him in studio, which will air later this week. And oh boy, the tea is hot, hot, hot. Extra spicy, extra juicy, baby. So stay tuned for that. That was a really fun interview. And he's just such a cutie. I think I have a photo of us. He's just a cutie patootie, and we love cute, problematic F boys. So not that he claims to be a recovered F boy. So I'll let you determine whether or not you like it or you like him at the end of it. I thoroughly enjoyed him. So yeah, that's that's what I got for you. But we had a very fun sit down interview in studio, which I always love when we have the in studio interviews. Okay, I don't know what happened with StreamYard or why everything is all backwards wackadoodle. But anyway, had Carlo in studio. You guys can catch our sit down probably on Friday. And then I also have an upcoming episode with Leanne Locken from our live show in Dallas. So you can expect that to come out very soon. So Carlo, Leanne, we also had on Jeremy this week. People have had mixed reviews about Jeremy. I enjoyed chatting with him. I thought we had a good time. So it's always a good time. Yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, guys, be sure to hit the like button. Hit it, hit it, hit it. That way you're always staying up to date with all the latest and the greatest. Okay. Let's yeah, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all the things. Listen on Spotify and comment on Spotify and comment on YouTube, leave a review on Apple. All the things. Hunt for Love is kind of starting to get boring. The tell all is better. I will tune into the interview. Yes, I will agree. I watched the finale and I was kind of like, okay, the finale dragged on a little bit. It was a little long, but I watched the tell all, and the tell all is where it got juicy, and they all came at Carlo, and I was like, all right. I left Donna's show for yours. Is Donna live right now? She normally goes live at 11. I didn't realize she was still on right now. You're a cutie patootie. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay, let's talk about Robert Downey Jr. and Ryan Reynolds, because there was this rumor going around about the two of them I think we talked about this last week. There was this rumor about the two of them on the set of Avengers Doomsday, and people were saying that the two of them got into some sort of beef or spat on the set of Doomsday. Now, obviously, what's his name is coming back. Robert Downey Jr. is coming back, but he is playing the role of Doctor Doom. So he's not playing the role of Iron Man, which he's traditionally played in the past. Now he's got a new role and he's playing Doctor Doom because it's a new multiverse thing. I don't know. I can't keep up with all the Marvel stuff. I do enjoy the Marvel movies, though. I will say that. And so now there's this rumor that came out, like I told you guys, from a blind item. And this originated from, I think it's Behind the Blind podcast, the Behind the Blinds podcast. And that they take like fan blinds. I always like to take blinds with a grain of salt because there isn't always a ton of legitimacy to them. But I know that this rumor has been coming up in the live chat quite a bit. It's been coming up in my DM. So a lot of people have been asking, is this true? Is this, a real feud that's gone on? And so the rumor was basically that there was a high profile A-list actor, comeback A-list actor, that got into a fight with another foreign born A- list actor. And so people are assuming the comeback actor who's married to a producer is Robert Downey Jr. and that the foreign born A- list actor is Ryan Reynolds. And so the rumor goes, I guess, allegedly, Reynolds, this is the rumor, and then we'll get into the updates since the rumor originated. But so Ryan Reynolds allegedly made a comment about Robert Downey Jr.'s wife. Robert Downey Jr. did not like that because I guess they're not that close. So Robert Downey Jr. allegedly made a comeback about Blake Lively. Naturally, I don't know. It's easy to kind of poke fun at Blake Lively right now. Like he should be like, why don't you go check on your wife? I heard everybody's coming into her trailer. She's inviting everybody into her trailer. There are a number of comebacks. Hey Ryan, you better hit the gym. If you're gonna be lifting your wife tonight, you better get ready for it. So it's always you can come back and be like, "What, you wanna come at me? I bite with teeth, unlike your wife." Um, plenty of different comebacks that you can throw regarding Blake Lively. So that was the rumor that they got into some sort of physical altercation as a result of that, but then since then they kissed and made up, they issued apologies to each other, and production moved forward. There were also rumors that their scenes were having to be altered and that they weren't gonna have to film together anymore. Now, I said the rumor on Instagram and TikTok, and then I gave all of the reasons why the rumor may not entirely be true. First of all, we have no confirmation that Ryan Reynolds is going to be in Avengers Doomsday. He plays Deadpool, but there's no confirmation that Deadpool or Ryan Reynolds are set to appear in Avengers Doomsday, right? Just rumors, just speculation. If anything, he may be making some sort of small cameo because there have been, rumblings that he is doing it and rumblings that he's not doing it. We don't have any official confirmation on Ryan Reynolds' involvement in Doomsday. As of right now, it does not appear that he's going to be in Doomsday. So I think maybe some details of the rumor got a little twisted or something, but I put the rumor out there. I said, one, it's a blind item, which are very untrustworthy. And I always say I don't like blind items because you can't really legitimize them. No major mainstream publications had picked up on the rumor. It was going around on Reddit. Fans were spreading it all around. Obviously, it was sensational. Fans wanted it to be about Ryan Reynolds and Robert Downey Jr., especially because everybody hates Ryan Reynolds right now. Like his reputation is completely shot. So there's a good chance that that was likely a fake, bogus rumor. Well, this guy online, um, John Roca, he saw my video and and he reposted it saying, I can't correct everybody, but as I broke, and he put broke in quotes. But as I broke this story, the fight on the Avengers Doomsday set was not between Robert Downey Jr. and Ryan Reynolds. People like this, referring to me, I'm people like this. People like this, we gotta stick together. Da-na-na-na-na, gonna last forever. I said, people like this are getting so much engagement out of this because they don't want to accept that I won't reveal the names involved. First of all, didn't even know that the rumor came from you. Let's just start there. I think I may have heard the name here or there somewhere. Didn't know that you were the originator from it, which is why when I credit the person that I thought originated this rumor, it was the Behind the Blinds podcast. So, okay. Um, I didn't know he broke it, but I will say shortly after posting this video, somebody sent me a video from his podcast or his YouTube channel where he says that he heard the rumor too, and he can confirm that it's not Ryan Reynolds and Robert Downey Jr., that they were not the two A-list or A-minus actors that were fighting on the set. And the second I saw that video clip, guess what I did? I shared it to my Instagram story and then planned to talk about it on the show. Didn't get a chance to talk about it on the show because, well, now I'm talking about it on the show now, but I didn't get a chance to before. So I want to make it clear I was not trying to fish for engagement. I was literally getting DMs and people in the live chat and in my comments talking about this rumor. I dug into the origin of it. It didn't appear to be a legit source. It did not appear to be a legit rumor. And now we have somebody confirming that it was not a real rumor or it was not a legit rumor, whatever the case may be. But thank you, John Rocha or John Roca. Appreciate you coming in and debunking the rumor. But yeah, I wasn't doing it for engagement, and I'm willing to accept that you don't want to release the names. That is your prerogative, number one. But number two, if you're so irritated about it, then just release the fucking names. It's really not that hard. When you release the names, people stop talking, you know? Is he mad people don't know him? I don't know what he's mad about, to be honest. He's just like, I'm so annoyed that this rumor keeps going around and I've tried to debunk it. And it's like, well, maybe if you had a bigger name, people would. No, sorry, that was shady. I didn't mean to be shady. But I'm just like, why you could don't come for me. I did not call for you. I did not put out a casting call. Do not come for me. I did not give you my phone number for you to do and call me to the stage, because if you're gonna call me to the stage, I'm gonna come back swinging. And like Blake Lively, or unlike Blake Lively, I use teeth. You know, could come back actor. Oh, could it be Alan Cummings? Maybe, maybe, maybe. Disney probably paid him to shut up and backtrack. I don't know. But listen, he seems to have sources, right? To credit the dude, he seems to have some sort of inside sources or connections within the Marvel world. You know, I am wearing my activated shirt today, coincidentally. But yeah, sorry, but John Roca is making it very clear um, that. Why is it that if I repeat the rumor, it's fishing for engagement, but him who started the rumor, perpetuated this entire internet frenzy, that's not fishing for engagement? Convenient. Very, very convenient, John Rocha. Chris Hemsworth and Pedro Pascal can be foreign born. Yes, very true. We'll see, but it also doesn't appear that Reynolds is gonna be in the new Avengers movie at all. I don't think he is. Robert Downey Jr. is the only person Disney is willing to do reshoots for. Who else could it be? Yeah, I'm thinking it has to be Robert Downey Jr. I'm not sure who the other person is, but I think it was just easy and convenient for everybody um to kind of jump on Ryan Reynolds because he's obviously not very, you know, liked at the moment. Zach doesn't need a fish for engagement, so that's hilarious. Yeah, the last thing I need to do is fish for engagement, right? Like I naturally drive engagement good and bad all the time. I just came off of what 3 waves of, internet heat from the Katie Joy stands and the Perez's and then the Meghan Markle um marshmallows. I don't know, what do we want to call them? But I really don't need a fish for engagement. I do pretty damn good all on my own, and considering my numbers are a lot higher than his, I think I'm doing okay. I don't need John Rocha to drive engagement for me. But it was a question that people had, and people were running with the rumor. So I was like, let's bring up the rumor, let's talk about it, and let's debunk it. It's a blind item. Ryan Reynolds doesn't appear to be on Avengers Doomsday. What more do you want me to give you? Zach's naturally fine. Oh, Meghan Markle minions. There we go. Meghan Markle minions. Robert Downey Jr. likes to joke, but I don't think he'll get into a fight. Well, we don't know the extent of the physical altercation, right? You did not fish me out of a lake. I heard one video and like you. Yeah. If they need a Deadpool cameo, Colin Jost can suit up. We really don't need Ryan Reynolds. It's very true. I mean, if there's anything that we've learned in the Marvel universe, it's that we don't, like, you are replaceable. Like, how many times have they replaced Spider-Man? We had 3 different Spider-Mans. We had Andrew Garfield, we had Tobey Maguire, and then we had, what's Tom Holland. So, it's very don't you go and thinking you're irreplaceable. To the left. Everything you own in the box to the left. So just, to appease Mr. John Roca, let's let everybody know that this is a fake rumor. I mean, there was a fight. There was some sort of altercation or fight that went down on the set of Doomsday, but it was not between Ryan Reynolds and Robert Downey Jr. So let's just put that rumor to rest. All right, lots more to get into, but very quickly, let's first give a shout out to this week's sponsor, and that's DraftKings. DraftKings Casino has your playbook for gaming action all season long. Play thousands of popular slots for a shot at jackpots. Over 400 million has already been awarded. New players get 500 spins on Huff and More Puff over 10 days. Download the app, use code NOFILTER, and claim your spins after your first $5 wager. Get in the game with DraftKings Casino, home of the largest jackpot win in online casino history. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. 21 plus. Physically present in Connecticut, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia only. Void in Ontario. Eligibility restrictions apply. New customers only. Non-withdrawable casino spins issued as 50 spins per day for 10 days. Valid for featured game only and expire each day after 24 hours. See terms at casino.draftkings.com/promos. Ends October 5th, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay, let's see what's next on the docket. Should we talk about Katy Perry? She wants some justice. Oh, let's actually talk about the Dancing with the Stars, and then we'll get into the Katy Perry because she was at trial today. She did testify yesterday. I've seen some of the transcripts. Quite a wild time. We'll see where the judgment ultimately falls, but I did want to talk about Dancing with the Stars. So this is the leaked cast list. It looks like it was leaked on Instagram by a woman named Gabby from a PR insider, Gabby says. Uncertain who or what, but it looked leaked. So I do know that Dumois caught Dylan Efron, or what is believed to be Dylan Efron, rehearsing for Dancing with the Stars. So we can confirm Dylan Efron appears to be on the show. We also know that Jen Affleck and Whitney Leavitt from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, they have been confirmed to be joining the show. But we also have, this is the alleged list of contestants this upcoming season, which to me I actually think is a pretty impressive list. I know most of the people on it. Danielle Fishel, she played Topanga on Boy Meets World. She also does the what is it? Podcast Meets World, Pod Meets World podcast, where they go and recap old episodes of Boy Meets World. She was also in the Girl Meets World reboot. I need to get her on the. I want to pick her brain because there's drama from the set of Girl Meets World, and I want the drama. I want her to finally just come out with it. So we have Danielle Fishel. We have Robert Irwin. Robert Irwin is the son of Crikey. What's the crocodile hunter, Steve Irwin. He also just recently did that really sexy the photo shoot, remember, with the snakes and all the animals, and he did it was an underwear campaign. That was really hot, right? He did that. He's only 21. Wow. But you'll remember him and his sister. They were, a hot commodity in when they were kids with their dad. They were like the cuties that were, they were like, that's my dad. And he was wrestling crocodiles until he unfortunately passed away. But he's going to be joining. He definitely brought the heat with his, what do you call it? His all grown up. Let me see if I can pull up one of the photos. His I'm all grown up photo shoot. Because he's like, I'm a man now. Here, I'll pull up. That way you can be like, ooh, this is going to be who's joining Dancing with the Stars. Because I'm actually, so we have Danielle Topanga, and then we have Robert Earn. We have Alix Earl. Alix is the one that She had the falling out with Alex Cooper recently. She was with the Unwell Network. So here's Robert Irwin. He's a hunka burning love now. He's got the abs. He's got the snake wrapped all around him. And he's like, look at me. He's showing off his anti-chafe underwear because that's what he did his new underwear campaign for. I was like, I want like an underwear campaign. I need to get abs like that. And then I can do an underwear campaign like this. Look at him here with his giant snake wrapped around his neck. What a time. Daddy would be proud, right? We have Alex Earl. She's a podcaster. She was like an influencer. She had a deal with the Unwell Network, which is Alex Cooper's Unwell Network. Then that kind of fell apart. Like I said, we have Jen and Whitney from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. We have Andy Richer. Who I guess he's the one that's coming for the old man role. He was the sidekick to Conan O'Brien. I mean, I loosely kind of knew of him. He was the older, heftier dude. He was like right there with Conan all the time. He was always kind of sitting with the guests on the chairs. Who else? We have Scott Hoying. You always have to have some sort of musician thrown in there. Scott is from is he from Pentatonics? Yeah, he's from Pentatonics. He's a cutie. He's like the ginger from Pentatonics. We have Hilaria Baldwin. Oh my goodness, Hilaria Baldwin is quite the interesting character. I know Donna Bowling was excited about Hilaria because she loves her some Hilaria. We have Dylan Efron. We have Jordan Childs, who is a pro football player from NFL. Oh, sorry, Canadian. Oh, but he started in Canada. Now he's part of the NFL. So we always need an athlete. He's cute. Do athletes typically do well? I feel like they can move quite a bit, but I don't know if they're actually like good at dancing. We have so he's football. We have basketball, and that's Baron Davis. Because Baron, you have to make sure you put the combo of um athletes on the show. We have Elaine Hendricks, who she was in the original Parent Trap. And I believe she's also in Freakier Friday because I did watch Freakier Friday. She has a cameo in Freakier Friday. She's the one that played the stepmom. What was her name in the Parent Trap? She was in the Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan. She revived Meredith. Remember Meredith, the one that the dad's gonna marry, and she's like all drama, and she has like the hat, and she hates kids. Well, Meredith, she's on the show on this new season as well. So we have Meredith, we have Topanga, we have the Mormon Wives, we have the ball players, we have Pentatonics, we have Hilaria Baldwin, we got Dylan Efron. Dylan Efron's really having his moment. And then we have, surprise, Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman. Isn't Jordan Child a female gymnast? Maybe, but we're not talking about Jordan. No, it's Jordan Childs. Not Jordan Childs. Oh yeah, Jordan Childs. She's a gymnast. Wait. Oh, Jordan Child. Wait, what the hell? What in the coconut tree? Who was I looking at then? Did I put in another athlete? Sorry, Jordan Childs, the gymnast. She's the one that's in. What did I say? Did I say a different name? Lord Yu Young. That was not the original Parent Trap. I know it wasn't the original Parent Trap movie. Well, it's the one that everybody remembers. Sorry, Russ. Okay. Mine is a typo. I meant Jordan Childs. Yeah. So where are you throwing me off? So yeah. Anyway, Corey Feldman's also going to be on it. He's going to be probably doing his dance. He's going to be like, woo, woo. I'm going to exploit Hollywood. I'm going to expose Hollywood. Ooh, ooh. On display, on display. I actually am kind of cool with this list. I know most of the people. I know Danielle. I know Robert. I know Alex. I know Jen and Whitney. Familiar with Andy. Don't really care about him. I know Hilaria. I know Dylan. I know Scott Hoying. I know Corey Feldman, and I know Elaine Hendricks. The only two I didn't know were Baron Davis and Jordan Childs. Yeah. Well, that's the new cast, rumored cast of Dancing with the Stars. I was hoping Donna Bowling would give me more details, and she didn't, but that's okay. I'm sure we'll get an official announcement soon because they're all rehearsing, and they're gonna have to do an official come out announcement at some point. Okay, let's talk about Katy Perry. So Katy Perry finally took the stand. I heard her testimony was kind of lackluster for the most part. It was her team kept objecting. They kept object, relevance, calls for speculation, legal grounds, you know, irrelevance. So her team, she had a limited time in her testimony. She virtually called in via Zoom or something, and she answered questions under oath during her trial. This is her legal battle with Carl Westcott. Carl Westcott is the retired disabled veteran who's now in his 80s that claimed she claims that he owes her $6 million because she bought his house. He tried to fight the sale of it. She ultimately won. And then now she's saying, well, now that I got the house needed a lot of repairs. And so therefore, because the house needed a lot of repairs, I think I'm owed $6 million as a result of the repairs that need to be made. And it's like, well, I think you can, one, afford the repairs, and two, you should just be able to pay the balance of the rest of the house, you know? And then if there are repairs, then maybe you accumulate those repairs and then maybe sue him for that specific dollar amount. But to say I'm owed $6 million, I shouldn't pay the remaining $6 million. Huh. Okay. Got it. So she she has finally taken the stand. And like I said, it was quick, it was brief, there wasn't a whole lot to get out of it. But Court Westcott, right? Is it Court? Chart. So there are two. Carl has two kids, Chart and Court. And Chart and Court are the ones that are kind of, I guess, leading this for their dad because he's on his deathbed. He's been battling Katy Perry in court for the last 5 years. He already lost his house. She's fighting him for this other 6 mil. But I saw that Chart put together a statement that he issued out publicly in response to Katy Perry and her saying she was seeking justice because that's what she said on the stand. They're like, "Do you have any monetary financial gain from, this judgment?" And she'd be like, "Well, yes, I guess, but ultimately I'm seeking justice." That was her answer. She wants justice. Did she also sue the nuns? She was battling the nuns for the convent, and then eventually one of the nuns died in court. So I think she's hoping for a round two. Best 2 out of 3, right? So this is a statement from Chart, who's Carl Westcott's son. He said, Katy is seeking justice. She knew the identity of the real buyer, which was her baby daddy, Orlando Bloom, while my family had been dragged through 5 years of hell as our father lies on his deathbed. She already owns at least 3 homes in Montecito and is worth hundreds of millions. She could live anywhere in the world, but instead chose to torment my family and my father, an 85-year-old dying veteran of the U.S. Army, over one house. Katy and Orlando do not care about justice. They care about winning at any cost. She has sued nuns. She has sued a small Australian designer who just happened to share her name. She has crushed a young musician in court, Michelle Ronk, who worked who believed her work was stolen. The pattern is undeniable. She hides behind a wall of soulless lawyers and handlers demanding victory no matter the collateral damage. Empathy and humanity have never once entered her thoughts. She is a shell of a human being. All that remains of her spirit is greed. Bam. And then not only did he have that statement to issue out, she's the nun killer. We have to protect the senior species, guys. Remember, protect the senior species. He also went off on Instagram as well and posted a number of stories there. Here's one with a video clip of Katy Perry, and he writes, "It is really hard to play chess with someone this stupid who is also very rich and can afford an army of soulless lawyers and enablers of her chaotic behavior. This is satire. Her. I'm mad. Make the old dying veteran pay, Enablers. Yes, Princess Katy, we are on it." So he's not happy with Katy Perry. He's coming at her very strong. He continued by writing, "She told me through her vampiric lawyers that she is mad about things I have said about her in the press. I used kid gloves versus some of the things I could have said. She should be thanking me for my restraint. You want the truth? You can't handle the truth." So he's really going off on her. Then he writes in another story, there are many people and friends of my family who were asked to help and support in this process. 99% of you showed up, and that 1% didn't. I will never forget. Your cowardice is noted now and forever. So he's now calling out other people in his life that have not been there to show up for him. And then lastly, he writes, also Orlando Bloom, what kind of man avoids accountability for his actions and lets his baby mama take the blame for 5 years? Completely without honor, chivalry. You need to turn your man card if you ever had one. Well, he's really going scorched earth, right? He's really coming out swinging. Whew. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. What a time. What a time, what a time, what a mighty good time. A mighty, mighty good time. So they're coming out swinging. They are not happy with Katy. Um, Sarah says, not a Katy fan, so I don't follow her, but wow, she really likes the courtroom battles, doesn't she? She has so much money. She should have to be greedy as well. Yeah. Dark with deeds. Yep. Yep. Michelle says Katy is a drama queen, never liked her since she called out her parents because they didn't vote the way she did. Oh, I didn't realize she did that. So, what a man, what a man, what a mighty good man, a mighty, mighty good man. Um, I think that's most. I mean, I also wanted to talk about Jussie Smollett. I watched the documentary and this crumble cookie controversy. Should we just get into that today? I was going to talk about it tomorrow because I was like, we have so much that we're talking about today. We might not have time for it, but, yeah, let's just get into it now because we're only 30 minutes in. We can go for another, like, 15, 20, 30 minutes. Jussie Smollett. Oh, actually, before that, Taylor Swift hello, talk about burying the lead. Taylor Swift got engaged, which, I mean, isn't really anything groundbreaking, to be honest with you, because, like, obviously, that was news that came yesterday. I did an Instagram and a TikTok and posted that on all the platforms. So, by now, it's, like, 24 hours later. Nobody's surprised by this news. Obviously, she announced it the day after Blake Lively's birthday. Blake Lively did not have a beautiful tribute posted by her adoring husband, but she made sure to let the press know that she had a very quiet birthday. Still shocked that Ryan Reynolds did not post anything wishing her a happy birthday, knowing like all eyes are on them right now. Curious how that's going. But I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in Blake Lively's apartment when it was revealed that Taylor Swift had gotten engaged. That right there. That is it. Yeah, Katy Perry's, according to Google, worth 400 million. Yeah, and she's fighting for 6 million from I mean, granted, uh, Carl Westcott, I'm sure, also has money, but still, it's more of just the principle, like, you don't need this. Why are you fighting for this? You really don't need it. Pay off the rest of the house. You wanted it. You got it. I'm pretty sure there wasn't $6 million worth of damages that was done in the last 5 years. Come on, get it together. You think we just fell out of a coconut tree? But anyway, I would love to be a fly on the wall in Blake Lively's apartment this week after the announcement came that Taylor Swift is engaged to Travis Kelce. Long awaited. Everybody, has been speculating whether or not they'll go the distance. Is Travis in it just for the clout? Now I think it's official. He's not in it for the clout. He really does love her. They're gonna get married. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a nice, big, giant, beautiful wedding that Blake Lively will not be invited to. And she is freaking out. She's like, Leslie, release the Taylor texts, leak them, and blame Brian Friedman. And then Leslie Sloan's like, it's handled. So wouldn't be surprised if we, in the very near future, get a leak of some Taylor Swift text messages. Because that just feels like a bold move from Blake Lively. Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. People do get married for clout. I mean, I guess, but I just seen Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift on his podcast. To me, it was very cute. It was very endearing, and I very much enjoyed it. So I am going to stand in that. Let's talk about the Jussie Smollett documentary because I watched it this morning because I wanted to talk about it on today's show, and then I was like, oh, maybe we'll wait. I am assuming that Jussie Smollett produced his documentary, right? Like this was his truth. I'm assuming he had a very strong role in this documentary. So, oh yeah, it was directed by Gagan Rahil based on Jussie Smollett's hate crime hoax. Okay, we got the producers, got it. But I want to know how involved Jussie was in all of this. Released on August 22nd, the film includes Smollett's first extended on camera account of the cast. Since then, the documentary summarizes the complete complex legal narrative. Smollett was convicted in 2021, right? In interviews, Smollett maintains his innocence. But I want to know, okay, production, Netflix ordered a 90-minute series focused on the controversy. Netflix described the documentary as a shockingly true story of an allegedly fabricated account. Do we still have to say that it's allegedly fabricated if it went before a jury? I mean, I guess technically it was overturned in appeals court, but not overturned because the jury was wrong. It was overturned because there was an original plea deal on the table, and his team argued that that plea deal should still stand. Producers position the project as both an investigative feature and a cultural analysis, aiming to explore the complications of the incident and the following media coverage. The intention was to position the case with broader discussions of race, sexuality, celebrity culture, and misinformation in the United States. So here's the thing, we can get into it. Actually, we will get into it. I watched the whole thing. It's only 90 minutes, so it's very quick. Um, but I want to know, how involved was he in this? They seem to a degree, kind of maintained prior that it contains never before seen footage that he said corroborates his account. Statements that were widely reported and became part of the pre-release conversation. People magazine also reported that Smollett saying in the film that he felt extremely emasculated by the public's reaction to the alleged attack, and reiterated that his payment to the Osendario brothers was for an herbal supplement, not a staged hate crime. Commentators. Okay. I don't know how involved he was in this. Wasn't planning on talking about this today. I was going to talk about it on the show tomorrow, but I guess we still have time to do it. So, thoughts overall. The documentary, I thought, for the most part, gave a very fairly even keeled look on the entire case and the media's reaction. We get the police officers, we get the investigators, we get Jussie himself, we get the brothers that claim to have committed the crime, we get some internet journalists. I actually thought that the documentary was, for the most part, well done, but I feel like they really tried to force the alternate side. Like, to me, it's very obvious. He lied. To me, that is what I went in thinking. That is what I came out thinking. There were a couple of moments where I was like, oh, maybe he didn't lie. But then when you really stop, look back, and analyze the situation, you're like, no, homeboy straight up lied. Like, he lied. There's no denying it. Um, yes, they had a lot of like internet journalists that are like, well, we dug deeper and we don't believe he lied and blah, blah, blah. And good for you. You think, you did your internet sleuthing. You think you found, you know, the truth, but they're really going based off of, there's really just one piece of evidence that I feel like people are torn on or torn over. And it's a video still of this man that they believe is the one that had hate crimed Jussie Smollett. So to recap everybody on what happened, Jussie claimed that he was out walking one day. Here, let me pull up my notes. Yeah, he claims that he was out walking late at night on a very freezing cold evening or night. It was well into the night in Chicago, very cold outside. He went for a walk. He went to Walgreens to get some food. I think he had just gotten off a plane. He was going to Walgreens to get some food, realized that, because obviously when you're like, oh, I'm hungry, let me go to Walgreens. That makes sense. And so he was going to Walgreens because he thought it was 24 hours, which also, to be fair, I know all of the spots around my apartment building. I know what's 24 hours. I know it's not 24 hours. I know it's open. I know it's not open. And guess what? You know what else I do? If I am uncertain if a store is open 24 hours, you know what I do? I pull up my phone and I was like, "Doo, doo, 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 doo. Oh, it says it's closed right now." Or, oh, it says it's open 24 hours. You check your phone before you go outside into the cold and just like wander on about, right? So he goes to Walgreens. Walgreens is closed, and he leaves. He goes and I think gets like a Subway sandwich. He comes back home, claims that he was punched in the face. He swung back, and then there was a rope, a noose that was put around his head, and he was called the FAG word and the N word, and was told this is MAGA country, and the dude had a red hat on, right? Which to me is kind of strange. One, it's like the middle of the night. Two, how did they know that he was gonna be out and about in the middle of the night? It's not like a daytime thing where maybe they were camping outside waiting for him to walk out of his apartment. Like, it's just you're telling me you, on a whim, got home, didn't have food in your fridge, was like, "Oh, let me just go to Walgreens," and, how convenient these dudes happen to recognize him. Again, it's freezing cold, so everybody's in coats and scarves and a hood, hoods or beanies, like, come on. Oh my god, MAGA in Chicago, no. Exactly, I will say this. Yeah, you can also DoorDash. DoorDash is a great yep, well, I mean, this was also 5 years ago, but still DoorDash was around then. But yeah, MAGA in Chicago is also a little unrealistic. If you know Chicago, it is very, very super liberal. I mean, that's not to say I mean, there's also, like, Trump Tower there, so you're gonna get a lot of very conservative Republicans there as well, but you expect me to believe some random white dudes were just hanging around after midnight, and then they happen to recognize Jussie Smollett in the freezing cold weather, and they're just like, "Hey, you're the guy from Empire, huh? You're the guy from Empire, huh?" And then they attack him. Like, to me, I was just like that story alone, wild, right? Absolutely crazy. And so he comes back to his apartment, and the crazy part is there was a lot of unseen footage for sure, but they have a lot of the body cam footage. They have all the footage of the Ring cameras nearby, all the footage of the security cameras from the stores nearby, the street cameras, all of that gets played out, right? So you really kind of get to see for the most part, things as they unfold. So number one, there's no actual footage of the incident itself. There's a lot of footage of, pieces before and after, but there's no footage that actually captured the exact moment that he was allegedly assaulted, right? And so the first red flag that police caught on to, because at first they came, they're like, oh my God, this is going to be a big case. There's a lot of pressure on us to figure this case out. The first red flag they said was that they came in and that he was walking back with his Subway sandwich. And they're like, if somebody assaults you and attacks you, I live in downtown. If somebody assaulted me and attacked me, the first thing I'm going to do is run to somewhere I can call the police. I'm not going to pick up my Subway sandwich and walk home and walk into my building to go and eat my Subway sandwich before I try to get a hold of authorities. I live in downtown LA. If that were to happen to me, if there was a store nearby, if there was anyone that was open or awake or whatever, I would immediately run to help, right? Immediately call 911 on my cell phone, call someone nearby, call someone local, something. I would have an immediate reaction, and my immediate reaction would not be to pick up my Subway sandwich and walk home with the noose around my neck. That's the other crazy part is police get there, and on the body cam footage, you can see them walk into Jesse's apartment, very nice apartment, but they walk in, and it's Jesse in his kitchen, relatively calm, not shooken up at all, with the noose still around his neck. It's like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Can you take that off?" And he was like, "Yeah, I can take it off." And very calmly just kind of like takes it off. And he's like, "See, and they did this to me." And it's like, "What?" Like, you would think there would be adrenaline running through your body. Not only did they put a noose over your neck, which, hello, that in itself is terrible and terrifying, right? But then they allegedly hit you. You got into a fight. There's going to be adrenaline in your body. He was very calm with his Subway sandwich. Red flag, right? Still had the noose around his neck. Red flag. Then they asked for his cell phone and his phone records. He would not give up his phone. And he would not give up his phone records. He said um, that the reason he didn't give any of that up is because he was on drugs and he didn't want that information to come out. But it's like, what? Why would MAGA Republicans be watching Empire anyway? He was not a household name. Exactly. Like, if you're trying to claim that MAGA Republicans are super, racist, then why are they watching a show with a predominantly black cast with the intention of like harming somebody? Like, it also like it felt so weird, right? Like, it was just such a strange thing that happened. And of course, immediately all these celebs, Viola Davis and Joe Biden are all issuing statements in support of Jussie Smollett at the time. But so he wouldn't give up his phone, he wouldn't give up his phone records, and then he kind of linked it back to this origin of this letter that he got. And the letter basically called him an FAG again, but the letter for the most part was this magazine cutout, right? It's like someone took a magazine, like in an episode of Scooby Dooby Doo, took out a magazine, cut out the letters, and then and glued all of the letters to spell out this message that was ultimately sent to Jussie. At the time, Jussie said that Fox took it very seriously, but then we later find out that he wasn't happy with how Fox dealt with this threat. There seems to be some sort of, conjecture around whether or not he possibly sent this letter to himself for some sort of, attention. But so the letter, I think, was kind of ridiculous. Like, who this day and age, in the era of Pretty Little Liars, who in this day and age is sitting and who in MAGA country is going through an old school magazine and cutting out letters to spell out, to glue them together? Yeah, that's a 70s thing, right? It's fresh out of an episode of Scooby Doo, right? Like, where's the mystery machine? Somebody call Shaggy. I'm confused as to why, like, who is still doing these tactics back in this day and age, right? But so he says that, yeah, he didn't want to give up his phone records because he was afraid that information about drugs would be pulled into question. He didn't want that information getting out there. And then he says that he wasn't wearing the noose the entire time. He says that he put the noose back on, you know? He put the noose back on his head. And so that when the cops walked in, they could get the full effect. They could see it for themselves. And I was like, again, how is that where your mindset is? You just were attacked. There was a hate crime against you. They called you these terrible names. They punched you in the face, so you claim. What? Empire was a good show. I used to like Empire. Sounds like a drug-induced fever dream, right? I mean, tell me about it. So, what the authorities do, they end up locating the men who allegedly assaulted, or who they believed had assaulted and attacked Jussie Smollett. And here's the thing. They went through all the camera footage in a multiple block radius to try and find two men who Jussie Smollett claimed were white men. He said the man was white. He said everything in their face was covered except for their eyes. And right here, you could see that it was a Caucasian man. Now, to be fair, even if you just see my eyes, I mean, yes, my skin is lighter, but it could have been a Latino man. It could have been who knows? But what they did, and they show all of this footage in the documentary, is they show all of the street camera footage. They show the stores that had security cameras. And then not only that, so they track these two men that are running through the streets of Chicago, running from the scene. They track them down to when they get into a taxi. And then they follow the taxi trip all the way to a residential area. They get out of they get out of the taxi in the residential area, and then they're running again. And so here's the other crazy part: is in the trail in which they're running, police were able to pull ring camera footage from the homes that these guys ran past. So they're showing not only the security footage and the map route for the taxi, but then they're showing us the ring cam footage. So we're seeing the guys go through the residential area, and then it appears they got into some sort of ride share. And so they end up subpoenaing the records from Uber to find out who in that area was calling a car. They only found one ride that night, and that's how they were able to track where these two men ended up, what address they went to. They go and look at the address. Then the address happens to be linked to these two guys that happen to be extras on Empire. What a coincidence. All of the footage shows two people running. The two people are tracked down and linked back to this one address where these Empire actors happen to be. And then we find out they happen to have been, or one of them was a trainer and a friend of Jussie Smollett's. I guess they'd met from Empire. But so then they built a friendship with Jussie. Oh, well, that's a coincidence. And so the guys also immediately after getting back to their place go to Nigeria, which is where they're from. They're these two brothers, the Nigerian brothers. They go back to Nigeria. And so police are waiting for them to return to the US. A little bit of time goes by. They're still investigating, trying to find more details, becoming very cautious of Jussie Smollett. Eventually, the two brothers come back, and police are on the tarmac ready to arrest them. They get off the plane. Cops are there and take them into custody. And you can see in the body cam footage, these guys, one, don't seem surprised that they're being arrested. Two, don't even ask what or why or huh. If I was fresh off a plane and there were cops there ready to detain me, I would be like, wait, what is this about? Like, of course you're going to cooperate with them, but you're going to be like, wait, why am I under arrest? What is going on? Am I under arrest? What is happening? What are the charges against me? I need to call my lawyer. Like, you would just have a bigger reaction, but it was almost as if they were kind of expecting the police officers to catch up to them at some point. So they're completely quiet, don't say anything, don't ask questions. They get to the police station. We're seeing the footage from the police station where they're asking, are we under arrest? Whatever. So apparently, you can only detain somebody for 48 hours before you have to release them unless they're willing to talk. So the 48 hours is going and going and going. Finally, they get an attorney. Attorney comes in. Um, and the interesting thing is, Jussie did report and has been very clear and consistent in his story that the men that robbed him were white and they were, MAGA country. But in this case, these are two black Nigerian men that does not align with his narrative of what happened. Um, so ultimately, they lawyer up, stop speaking. Jussie says that he knew that it was not them, that when authorities came to him and were like, are these the guys that could have done it? He was like, absolutely not. This was a Caucasian man. This was a white man that did this. It was not a black man. It's absolutely not them. So it seems like he was kind of trying to protect them to an extent. He didn't want to press charges against them, which also, if they caught the guys that actually did it that you paid off, yeah, you're going to be like, no, it's not them. No, I don't. But it's also the fact that you're so confident and so sure that it's not them also makes me question, well, there's something that gave the police reason to believe that it was these two dudes. You happen to know these two dudes. That's kind of suspicious. If you know the two of them, wouldn't you kind of be like, huh? What the heck? Why are my friends being pulled into this? Like, I need to talk to my friends. I need to figure out what, or at least one of them was his friend. I need to figure out what this is all about. Why are they following me? Why are they involved in any of this? Like, that's crazy, you know? Doesn't make any sense. So interesting that he didn't really have a normal reaction, in my opinion, and authorities seem to have felt the same way. But then he went and did a sit down. I think it was like on GMA or something. He did a sit down exclusive interview talking about it. And the two brothers hired an attorney. The attorney then went and showed them the interview that Jussie did, and that's when they lost it. And they were like, "Oh, he's like running with this all the way." They claim that Jussie was only supposed hired them to do this, and that Jussie paid and hired them to do this and told them that he was just looking to get the footage, security camera footage, something, right? Which also kind of explains why he kept the rope over his neck as he walked home and was walking through the security at the front, whatever. And he was just planning on putting that this way he told the brothers that he was just planning on putting the video online so that people can see the reality of what's really going on. And oh my God, MAGA's taking over. And oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Right. So they see this interview of him giving them the exclusive and they're like, whoa, this has gotten way bigger than we were expecting. And no, that's not what happened. And the fact that he's doubling down on this and giving this exclusive interview and saying all of these things is crazy. So then they decide they talk to their attorney and they decide they're just going to be honest and hopefully get off on this and just be like, listen, we paid us to do this. We were complicit in this, but like, we're not looking to do anything more. He paid us $3,500. Jussie claims that the $3,500 was for some Nigerian drug that you can't get in the US that he was wanting to get that helps like get rid of belly fat. He never says what the drug is. There's never a name. There's no details other than it was just some drug in Nigeria that I paid them to go and get for you. So you pay them $3,500 for this drug. Really? Really? Just so that you could burn some belly fat, do some crunches, you know? They claim that Jussie was upset about the letter that he allegedly got and that he was unhappy with Fox not taking it very seriously, which counters what he claims in the documentary. He says that Fox handled it very well, but they're saying no. I guess he wanted a bigger spectacle out of it, and he didn't get that big spectacle. So instead, he calls them over. He sends a text message, "Hey, I need a favor from you." Meets up with them, asks them for this favor, pays them $3,500 for a check, claims that it's for this Nigerian drug to lose belly fat. They're just like, that's not true. He paid us to attack him. Um, and like I said, it was originally just supposed to be for a social media, and they didn't realize he was going to perpetuate it this far, where you have police involved and you have him doing interviews and making a huge spectacle out of this. So once the brothers get pulled in, once they start to confess, he suddenly stops cooperating with authorities and goes into hiding. And suddenly, authorities can't reach him. They can't find him. He's not coming in to give any follow up details. He's not giving them phone records. He's not giving them his phone. He just kind of goes underground. Eventually, they try to track him down and they ultimately arrest him. because now he's looking even more guilty of the fact that he's running and hiding from authorities. You're literally going on national television to talk about this, be it you can't cooperate with the police. And the police seemed irritated with them. So they started our leaks started coming out in the press about how he was being uncooperative and, all these details. He had the Subway sandwich and he didn't want to give his phone records. And so all of this stuff. So then the media starts to go into a frenzy over it. And it's interesting because the public turns on him and they try to make this into an issue of race. And they're, unfairly doing this to Jussie Smollett because he's black, right? When you fail to factor in the head of the police department was a black man, the one that's going and doing this press conferences, the one that's leading this investigation, he is a black man. Not only that, but these two Nigerian brothers are also black men and very, their pigment is much darker than Jussie Smollett's. So it's like you're trying to make this a culture war over race and you're disparaging these other black men over this one black man whose story is not adding up, you know? Zach, how much was the check for the supplements? Do we know? $3,500 is what he's claiming. He's claiming the $3,500 check that he wrote to the brothers was for this fat burner supplement that he couldn't get anywhere else but Nigeria. Okay, got it. So then we get to this woman, Kim Fox. And Kim Fox is the woman that cut Jussie a deal initially, which then led to him going to the press and saying that he was exonerated. He's like, I'm free. I got exonerated. Like they let me out. Is basically the point that he was trying to make. Kim Fox appears in the documentary very, very briefly. And all she really says is the deal that we offered him was fairly standard. Now, personally, my opinion is Kim didn't want this to become the media spectacle that it became. So she figured, listen, he tried to do this. He fumbled the ball. My conjecture, this is my opinion. I think, thinking of how this played out, it looks like Kim wanted to downplay this. Probably wanted to downplay it because she probably knew how much this would hurt, you know, the BLM movement if Jussie Smollett came out and, was lying about this hate crime. Like she knew how bad this would look. And so because she knew how bad this would look, she kind of dismissed it and swept it under the rug. And she's like, listen, this will quietly go away. Let's just, move on from it. Cuts him a deal. He takes the deal. But then he goes out into the press and he's like, I'm free. I'm free. See, I told you I was telling the truth, blah, blah, blah. That then pisses off the mayor of Chicago. The mayor, this other head of the police department in Chicago, they get upset about that. They get upset about the fact that he's making a media spectacle about this and doubling down on his claims when they have no legitimate reason to believe that he's telling the truth. Even Kim Fox doesn't say he was telling the truth. She cut him a deal so that it didn't blow up any further. Okay. Why else are you going to cut him a deal to kind of downplay all of this? So ultimately, the public's pissed because they think it's a celebrity getting away with lying just because he has money and fame. He kind of gets a pass. Mayor's pissed. Police department's not too happy. So they decide to move forward and pursue a trial against him. Then at trial, we're presented with two new witnesses. Okay. The first one is a Sheridan Grand security officer. And the security officer claims he was outside of the Sheridan and he saw a white man, bundled up, running. And he flashed his flashlight and saw the white man running. Okay. That's all we have from the Sheridan. He says that he just sees this man. The man was very obviously white. He was running by. Okay. Got that. This was about 2:00 in the morning. Then we also see, which to me is kind of strange because it's like, wait, but there were two men that were supposed to be there. So where was the second man? Where did they go? And if this is just one man running off, then why did we have footage of the two men that were running off and the other, on all this footage throughout the city? Doesn't seem like we have footage of one white man or two white men that are running off, right? We found two men that were running off. A lot of the camera footage, security footage is all black and white. So it's kind of hard to differentiate with, the color of the skin of the individual, right? Especially at night with all the snow and everyone's pretty covered up because it's freezing outside. So we have this Sheridan security guard. And the most he's able to bring to the table is, yeah, I saw a white dude running. Great. Cool. Could have just been a white dude, I don't know, going for a jog. We really don't know. Then we have this other woman. She's Jussie's neighbor. She says that she was taking her dogs out. This was between 12:30 and 12:45 a.m., which is very late to be taking your dogs out, especially in like Chicago, especially when it's freezing outside. Like I mean, we go to bed early, but like I try to be mindful of like when I'm going to be going out. I have two big dogs and I try to be mindful of when I'm going out, right? Because in downtown, you never know what can happen. She's gonna go out with her 2 little dogs at 12, whatever. She's sticking to her story. The dogs had to go potty one last time. Fine, she takes them out to go potty, and she says outside her door, there was a white man who appeared to be in his 30s, whereas the security guard, the Sheridan security guard said that this other guy happened to be in his 20s. This neighbor, this woman says that she saw a white man in his 30s and that he was standing outside of their building with a beanie on, and she also says that she saw a rope coming out of his pocket. Okay. Tenerife C says, plus everyone's ethnically ambiguous now, including me. Yeah. Did Jussie's lawyers appear in the document? I went to high school with one of them. He was ultimately represented by Garagos and Garagos, and one of the attorneys there is interviewed in the documentary as well. So we get the seems like everybody that was part of this, from Kim Fox to the lead at the police department to reporters, a lot of people, all the attorneys seem to be in on the documentary. So everybody came and gave a full, that's what I'm saying. It's a very full, well-rounded account of what may have went down. So this woman says that she saw a white man outside and she saw a rope coming out of his pocket. So therefore, that must be more evidence that this man was looking and following Jussie. But again, Jussie had just gone back to town. So why would they know that he was going to be there? Why would they know that he was going to be going out to Walgreens in the middle of the night? Like, how would they know any of this? And don't you think they would wait until the morning time? Don't you think they would be following him and checking his schedule to see when he normally leaves the house? Like, that to me would seem more logical than picking a random night to just wait outside all night, hoping, fingers crossed, that on this very cold night, Jussie Smollett happens to walk out. Just doesn't make sense to me, right? So we have these random witness accounts. Maybe they saw a white dude outside. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. Not debunking their theories, but I don't think that's hard hitting evidence to help Jussie Smollett. Then you have the video cam footage, the Uber receipts, the taxi receipts, the two brothers that are admitting to being paid by Jussie, who have the copy of the check for $3,500. So I'm sorry, you have these two random witnesses that kind of have a vague, testimony being like, yeah, I saw a white dude outside. And then you have all this evidence that points to these brothers who are admitting to doing it and showing the check. Just doesn't make any sense to me. Ultimately, the jury did find Jussie Smollett guilty on 5 counts. Okay. Jussie Smollett was found guilty. Let's be very clear. Let me repeat that for the peanut gallery in the back. The jury found Jussie Smollett guilty. Guilty. Full on, no stop, guilty, guilty, guilty. He originally pleaded, he's maintained his innocence and says that he's absolutely not guilty. I believe, when was trial? He filed for an appeal in 2023. Okay, so he was ultimately sentenced to 150 days in jail, 2.5 years on probation, and he was ordered to make restitution to the city of Chicago, just over 120,000, and he had to pay a fine of 25,000. Okay, he was found. What were the counts against him, though? Wait, I just had it. I want to list out the actual accounts that he was found guilty on, because it ultimately was just kind of crazy. Crazy. Oh, here it is. Found guilty on falsely reporting a hate crime. Got it. Chicago jury found Jussie Smollett guilty on 5 counts of disorderly conduct for making false reports to police that he was the victim of a hate crime in January 2019. A disorderly conduct charge for a false crime report is a Class 4 felony and punishable by up to 3 years in prison and a $25,000 fine. So they were disorderly conduct charges. Man, it's crazy. Ultimately, his team appealed it, and he won his appeal. And so the appeal, though, was because of the original Kim Fox's original deal. Her deal ultimately is what ended up being valid, right? They're like, well, he had this deal originally, he abided by the deal, so therefore we're going to appeal the decision. So he didn't even spend that much time. I think he only spent like a few days in jail. He was able to get out while his appeal was being fought, ultimately wins his appeal. And then the I would say, final third of the documentary focuses on we have a couple of, like, citizen journalists, and they start digging into Jussie, and they're like, "Wait, what if there's a chance that he is true? All we're listening to is everything that we're being told by the media." But it's also like, "But no, not by the media, by the jury that found him guilty," right? Like, we're factoring in we're failing to factor in that there's an entire jury that found him guilty on 5 counts, okay? I believe there were 6 counts that he was I believe it was 6 that he was charged with, and he was found guilty on 5 of them. So they start digging into things. There's some footage from the Sheridan Grand that appears to have a bit of time missing that may have been the guy running by. The guy that they claim may have been the one that was Jussie. Like, for some reason, there's a clip, there's like an 8 or second bit of that footage from that night that seems to have been that has disappeared. They don't know why, they don't know what was on it, but they believe like maybe that then shows, the white dude that ran by. And that may have been evidence. Now, that does sound super suspicious and super fishy. Where's that 10 seconds of video footage? Who was on it? What was shown? I have questions. I have follow-ups. Like, I need to know more, right? So they're digging into all of this. Um, then they have this other video clip that's not from the shared. All the video clips that we've seen so far are all like very grainy, black and white, hard to kind of identify, but we do see a consistent two-figure men that are kind of running through all of these video clips. Now we do the footage from the Sheridan doesn't really tell us very much. But so there was this other still or this other video clip that was in color where you can see a man, possibly 2 men that may have been running from the scene, right? And so these citizen journalists claim that this is the smoking gun that proves that the police didn't do their job and that the Chicago PD is corrupt and that the police department pressured the brothers into cutting a deal and that they fabricated evidence and that the brothers were trying to get like their record expunged. They were trying to, have their previous criminal record sealed. The brothers say that that's not true. The police say that that's not true. The brother's attorney says that there was never a deal on the table. They never accepted a deal. There was no like formal, and also their attorney claims that like the police can't give the brothers a deal. The prosecution can give the brothers a deal, but that wasn't the case because the brothers had already come forward. So it's a lot of conspiracy theory, and the 2 citizen journalists that they present in the documentary, to me, are very, like, defund the police, like, people that want to find every flaw in the police department. And then there's a whole chunk of the documentary in the end or towards the end where they go into the corruption of the Chicago Police Department, and they get into the times that they've been caught lying, or, the fact that they aren't always honest. Like, I don't know, it tries to paint this whole thing as that like it's a conspiracy with the Chicago Police Department that seemed to be trying to frame Jussie Smollett, was the impression that I was given with this segment of the documentary. That ultimately that's kind of the conclusion they want you to leave with, is that the police department is corrupt. You can't trust them. And therefore, because they're corrupt and because you can't trust them, then you kind of have to believe us because they probably framed him. So that's one reality, that the police department is so corrupt and they wanted to get a win that they framed Jussie by getting these 2 dudes to come forward, or Jussie Smollett lied. Those are kind of the 2 realities that we're living in here. Jussie needs to man up and go and tell the truth. I don't think that'll ever happen. Yeah, why would the brothers lie? So they present this theory as well, that the brothers are likely lying because they wanted to be famous. And they showed that the brothers were planning on writing a book, and the brothers seemed to be doing interviews, and the brothers were walking a red carpet, and so they make it seem like that was the motivation between the brothers, was to gain some sort of fame and notoriety. Great, cute. Um, and that the brother's attorney was also trying to make a name for herself as well, and so she also, was part of this cover up. So it's obvious that the journalist in the documentary hates the police, wants to prove that they're liars, is hell bent on proving that they're liars, and will not see anything else. It ends with Jussie. He continues to proclaim his innocence. And then again, they show us the clips of the brothers wanting to write a book and all this stuff. But the real key piece of evidence that these Jussie believers, right, these Jussie defenders are leaning on, is this footage, or this, yeah, it's this footage. And there's this man in this footage. And so here's the crazy thing. So here's a still shot of it. It's kind of hard. Well, I wonder if you can, it'll let you see the video clip. But so they're honed in and focused on let me see if I can find it on YouTube actually, the actual clip, because you need to watch the clip. Jussie Smollett, surveillance footage color. It's this one clip where they're claiming, oh, so there's a lot of body cam footage that appears to have been released in the past. Um, they also have footage of the brothers that are shopping and buying the supplies. So it's like the brothers are very clearly on the date and the timestamp. Like there's no way that they can fabricate that at all. That the brothers, were purchasing these items, and then the brothers happen to be there, and you're able to track them. And you have Uber receipts and taxi receipts and ring footage capturing all of them. And then you have their confession that it's like the evidence is overwhelming. But so it's this specific one here, and if you watch it, when I was watching the actual clip itself, to me, this man appeared to be a black man. And if you look at it, I mean, I guess if you zoom in, because it looks so bright, the color of his skin looks a lot lighter. But in the actual footage, to me, he appeared to be a black man. And even the brothers say, one of the brothers is like, oh, yeah, that's my brother. And that's me walking right behind him. I wish I had the actual clip, but I wasn't preparing on covering this today. I was going to cover it tomorrow. But so they then play the clip for multiple people that they interviewed in the documentary. And everybody has a torn account whether they believe that this man here is a black man or if this man here is a white man. Nobody can tell you definitively whether it's a black man or a white man. Everybody's like kind of torn about like, well, who is he? And I have different shots and different angles. They're not all very clear though, to be honest with you. So that's kind of the challenge. But from these three different angles, this appears to be, in my opinion, from the actual footage, not from this still, because obviously this was taken of the TV on my phone. So the contrast feels a bit brighter. So his skin, I think, looks a bit lighter here. But in watching the video clip, to me, he appeared to be a black man. And again, everybody that watched it was like, wait, this is a black man. Oh, no, this is a white man. Oh, wait, this is a black man. No, wait, maybe that is a white man. Like, nobody has any clarity. But this is the one piece of evidence that these two citizen journalists are hell bent on, of saying, look, there was a white man that happened to be walking down the street at that time in a coat. That has to be him. But I'm like, where's the MAGA hat? Where's the red hat at? Right? Weren't they supposedly wearing a MAGA hat? When the brothers went to purchase the rope, they also purchased a red hat. You can see that on the security footage very clearly. So according to him, everyone's looking for a clout except Jussie. Yeah, according to Jussie, the brothers are looking for clout. Their attorney is looking for clout. The police department is corrupt. And we should just rely on this one random woman's testimony of seeing a white man outside, and then this security guard from the Sheridan who also looked at this same footage, right? He looked at the same footage, and the security guard says that this is a black man. So I don't know what to tell you. I believe that Jussie is absolutely lying, and he's just continuing to double down and proclaim his innocence. And the fact that the first time he got out with the Kim Fox deal that she cut him, he came out and he was like, see, I'm innocent, I'm innocent, I'm innocent. That pissed off the mayor and the police department. And then now he's like, see, I'm innocent, I'm innocent, I'm innocent because I won my appeal. When it's like you're getting off on technicalities, not because the evidence or the truth are on your side. Because if the evidence and the truth were on your side, you wouldn't have been found guilty at trial the first time around. So, yeah. And he said he was attacked by two people, but there was only one person on the video footage. Yes and no. So this video footage, you can see the first man, and then he kind of walks off, and then you can see behind him there's another man that walks on after, which is also kind of weird because to me, if they had just committed a hate crime, like they are walking off a little too calmly, and one walks one way and one walks kind of straight in the other direction. Whereas in the video footage we have of the two brothers, or the two men that are believed to be the two brothers, they're running off. They're trying to get away. You see the two of them sticking together and they're just going off and doing their own thing. So all I heard was Zack say that the citizen journalists want everyone to defund the police if there's no sort of authority. It reminds me of The Purge. Again, I haven't seen it. That was the impression. Sorry, I'm not saying that the two citizen journalists want to defund the police. That was just the impression that I got from them, is that they were that type of, extremist, defund the police sort of activist, right? I felt like that they had already made up their minds that the police cannot be trusted. And so they were looking for any fabric of evidence that they could prove they could counter whether or not the police were legit in this investigation or not. But to me, I'm like, the evidence is pretty overwhelming. Like, there's just too, in my opinion, too much. Thank you, Alexis Burton, for the super sticker. Appreciate you. So yeah, that's where we at. Everybody, it's a conspiracy against Jussie Smollett. Everybody's out to get him. Everybody wants clout, and he's completely innocent. That is the story that he is sticking to. Whew. That was Robert Downey Jr. and Ryan Reynolds. That was Katy Perry. That was Dance with the Stars. And that was Jussie Smollett. Yes, he looks like a black man. I mean, listen, I don't know. These are just still shots from my phone. And like, it does kind of like, based off of the haircut and without the brightness being so bright in this specific still shot, like the haircut also aligns, it's very tight, it's very lined up. It aligns with one of the brothers, specifically like the shorter, stockier one. So we'll see if the public decides to embrace Jussie again. I don't have much faith in it, but we shall see. We shall see. All right. On that note, I love you guys. I appreciate you. Be sure to like and subscribe to No Filter with Zack Peter. You can subscribe here on YouTube. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts. You can subscribe on Spotify. You can watch new episodes of No Filter streaming live weekday mornings on YouTube and available to watch on Spotify. And you can listen to No Filter 5 days a week on all your favorite podcast platforms. You can follow me at Just Plain Zack. Follow the podcast at No Filter with Zack. And I will be back tomorrow again with another fun episode of the podcast. I've got Carlo from 90 Day Hunt for Love, and I've also got Leanne Locken. Both episodes will be airing on the show soon, so stay tuned for that. All right, have a great rest of your Wednesday. It's hump day. I have a meeting in 10 minutes. I hope you get humped today. All right, ciao for now, guys. Love you, mean it, appreciate you. Bye, 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 bye.